Just Picture It looks at the how of leadership. I'm Fung. Leaders know the value of trust, innovation, and emotional intelligence in achieving success and satisfaction at work. Rob Reindl has a track record of building a highly effective workforce in a fast-growing company, and he has learned how to unleash the potential of individuals, teams, and organizations. The How of Leadership is a new book that distills and presents his findings in short, succinct chapters with crisp graphics that help you with valuable inspiration and motivation every day. As the Corporate Vice President for Human Resources at Edwards Life Sciences for nearly 13 years, Rob played a key role in the development of the company's culture during its pivotal years of growth. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Malin.
Eileen Clegg is founder and principal of 10-year-old Visual Insight. She creates live visuals for strategy and learning. Eileen started the Visual Insight Press in January 2014, launching Rob's book on the How of Leadership. Eileen was a daily news journalist for 20 years and has written numerous books and articles and has been affiliated with the Institute for the Future, conducting research on learning since 1999. She has brought writing and art together to create a unique approach to visual journalism. Welcome, Eileen. Welcome back.
Thank you, Malin, for having me back.
Now, how did the two of you start working together, you and Rob?
I was on the faculty of Edwards Life Sciences Leadership program because Edwards was an early adopter of using visuals for executive leadership groups as a way of thinking together. So of course I had an opportunity to watch Rob working with these leaders through the years as this company grew, and I could see that the human systems that he brought to bear were really part of the engine of this company's growth, and I just had to know more, so I really pressured him to get it down on paper, and we worked together to do that over the past year.
Rob, tell us about the Edwards Life Sciences story. How did it happen?
Well, Edwards Life Sciences is a spin-off from a larger company, Baxter Healthcare. We spun off in April of 2000. It is the #1 heart valve company in the world. We became that shortly after spin. Very innovative company that grew from like $750 million to $1.3 billion in revenue during my time there. The interesting thing about innovation there is we invented a technology called the transcatheter heart valve, which enables physicians to place an aortic valve crimped into a catheter through the femoral artery and have your aortic valve replaced versus having your chest cracked open, which is typically the way the surgical procedure works. So excellent leadership also played a big role in that growth engine. We developed a program called Edwards Life Sciences Leadership Program in 2001 that really became the framework for us in teaching leaders how we wanted them to lead our people going forward.
Rob, you know, we cannot help but notice the graphic behind you about weaving trust. And it seems that weaving trust must have been a very integral part of Edwards Life Sciences. Tell us a bit about how trust played a role, and how do we prove worthy of trust in growing a company?
Yeah, you know, in my research on trustworthiness, I found that there was 4 elements that were really critical to proving you're worthy of someone else's trust. First one is, how much do we know one another? I mean, that's very important because it facilitates trust. It makes it easier for it to evolve. The second component of trust is, do we demonstrate behaviors that show we care? You can see that part of the graphic here. The third element is, to what extent do we follow through on our commitments and actually do what we say we're going to do, take responsibility and follow through on the things that we said we're going to do. And then the last element is, do we share information openly? Do we tell the truth along the way?
Thank you, Rob. Now, let's talk about this picture. Eileen, how does it work to bring images and ideas together? What role do these pictures play in helping to foster the culture of trust within Edwards Life Sciences?
Well, I think that the imagery really helps in general today because we're more and more visual, and we need compressed communication to convey ideas. So that's one reason why we've used the visuals to carry forward these really essential ideas. And this visual that we just looked at is an example of a metaphor that helps us think about something sort of abstract, such as trust. When we think of it as a tapestry, as a fabric, threads woven together, that if one of those breaks, that you really lose the fabric. So we begin seeing sort of a visual of how trust works. Each intersection is important, whether that's telling the truth, whether it's sharing more of ourselves, being vulnerable, all the ways we're trusting. Those are all weaving threads together. So that visual metaphor helps us hold that idea.
Well, seeing that Edwards Life Sciences is dealing with actual products that go into people's bodies, I'm relieved to know that there is a trustworthy company behind producing these things. Rob, would you like to tell us a little bit about how the culture of trust within Edwards Life Sciences can prove reassuring to the customers of your products?
Sure. I mean, you're right? We're inventing technologies that are going to go into human bodies, right? So it's critical, actually, right? So what we're talking about here is the importance of the different functions within the organization to be able to work together effectively and complement each other's expertise and work together. So for example, marketing goes out and determines what's the need out there in the marketplace. They bring that information back to the engineers. Engineers design the product. They have to pass it on to manufacturing. Manufacturing manufactures a product, and then it finally goes to sales. So bringing all those different functions in earlier so that they don't get the product thrown over to the fence to them, or you don't really care about what the other functions need or want as part of the process. That's not the way to design a good product that's going to go into human bodies. You need to listen and make sure that you're working together effectively across functions.
Thank you. I think the whole idea of trust is so critical whenever we're dealing with products or services that involve people's bodies and human beings. We are complex. And so, I'm reminded of the Space Challenger issue when the Challenger blew up, and it was because people wouldn't speak about the problems that they knew about. Let's bring up the next graphic. I think you've identified, Rob, an area that is so critical, that an essential part of your culture of trust is actually being able to listen to people. Tell us a bit about that and how that works.
Exactly. It's kind of interesting. You think, well, listening, very easy skill, but less than 25% of people in organizations really listen effectively. What a shame that is, right? And so we knew that. We got after that. And so we did different things where we said, we're going to seek the advice of people down in the organization because they might have some valuable input. Even though we as executives and more experienced leaders had all the experience, and we might go about our leadership and say, well, we know this, we don't need to ask them. No. You might get some gem of knowledge from people down in the organization. And so it's really important to involve them. I mean, the story that we did early on was to involve the middle managers in getting them involved in determining what should be the major components of our leadership program that we talked about earlier.